And we're live. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Come on onto the screen with StreamYard. It takes about 10 to 20 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, so have we passed the delay or not yet?
Not yet.
Not quite.
We're actually live. So if anybody's watching this back, they'll see this. So.
Oh, well, what a lovely thing
okay.
to watch back.
Welcome, everybody, to the first
We're live now. We're all
proper edition of the Tarot Times.
Yeah.
This seems like it's been forever in the planning, and now we're actually here, and it's exciting.
It is. And can we add some mods? If you want to be a mod for the group, do you want to just give us a wave or something like that? Because this is the first one. We've got a couple, but we could probably do with a few more if anybody wants to.
Who's on modding duty? Who's gonna give him the old spanner?
You can do that if you want, Elle.
Oh,
Are you
I will.
Tarot Times?
Well, I will do that right now.
So Twist says yes to mod. I can grab him. It's scrolling fast. So Twist has been added. Would love to, says Jamie. Great. Justin has us on big screen.
Wait. Oh, okay, hold on. All right.
Elle's been locked out.
Oh, Shane wants to as well. You want to add Shane?
Oh, he's got to be mod. That's the law.
Oh, and Jackie. I'm taking that out your hands and say no. I've added one.
Oh no.
I'm not interested in the deck. I'm just here for Elle.
Who said that?
Mendy.
Yes, Mendy. Thank you.
Can't wait.
So I think I think we should be all right for mods now, but
we're all modded up. Okay.
If we missed anyone, when we watch this back, we can always add it at a later date anyway.
And I can't see the chat at all, so I haven't got a device with me to see the chat, so I'm relying on these two to keep me in the loop.
Yeah. So how is everybody?
Yeah.
Great, everyone. We've got over 55 people already, and we've just come on. So.
Ooh.
How lovely to see everybody. So can we do a bit of an intro then?
Go on then.
What, each of us, or
ladies before gents?
Off you go then,
let the lovely Elle go first. I have to keep Elle. That's great. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Elle. Don't have a YouTube channel.
But we all know and love her.
Yeah. Oh, well, I hope you all know and love me. And here's Neville, my rat, just joining the party.
Yay!
So me and Neville are here.
Hi, Neville.
I don't know. Yeah. What else do I say? I've not got anything to plug or promote.
You've been. I mean, you might have. But you've been part of the community for how many years?
Since I was a wee bab. I was a 19-year-old girl, lost, and then you all found me. And now I'm the girl I am today at 22.
3 years.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh God, you all know me, right? Only I'm gonna have to remember to behave myself. That this is not one of my chats. This is a serious chat. So yeah, you know, well, you may not know me. I have my own YouTube channel. I've changed the name about 15 times. I have to remember what I'm called, but normally I'm on Becca Talks and Tarot.
Yeah, you got it.
I got it. I had to think then now which one. So yeah, that's me. I'm Becca.
We have to remind Becca what her channel's called.
Bless her.
Keep it up to date. So I'm Simon,
yeah.
And I'm from the channel The Hermit's Cave. Been on YouTube for 3 years and like 3 days. So, and about as long as these guys as well, but not necessarily with channels. But we've known each other more or less nearly the whole time, haven't we? So.
Yeah. Oh, I've had a channel for 2 years. So you started the year before me, but yeah, it feels like I've known these two
Yeah.
forever.
It does. And there's a fourth person in the mix. So our Sandra, who has the channel The Whispering Well, she's our roving reporter. She's the person who's done research into decks that have come out in the last month, the ones that are coming out, Kickstarter campaigns and all that sort of stuff. So thank you, Sandra. Big clap for Sandra, because she's really helped us out and yeah, done a lot of the legwork. So that's and she's there saying hi everyone. So hi, Sandra.
Hi, Sandra.
So shall we? Well, we was going to kind of like welcome everybody and go through everybody, but now there's like 70 people in the room. It'd probably be too late.
No way.
Yeah. So collective welcome to everybody to edition 1.
Yeah. I know. First off, you know, so we've got to ease ourselves into it, haven't we? We've got to sort of get the feel of it, because I know what I'm doing on my channel, but this is a new adventure, right?
Yeah.
So it's like being new in the office, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like starting a new job.
Yeah, it is. It's really strange because like just before we went on air as well, I was like, right, I said, the bongs have started, and I went to grab my stick, and I was like, oh no, not my channel. I'm not going to do that.
Could have given us a bong or two.
Yeah, and it helps. I use that just to clear the air and get my mind in a instant kind of state. But I could have still done it, but it would have sounded to everybody too much like the Hermit's Cave. But
we'll probably find our own little catchphrase or catch thing as time goes on, won't we?
Oh, and Kelly's here. Hello, Kelly. And
hi, Kelly.
Good to see everyone. So, shall we kick off?
Let's kick off.
Yeah. So, what we thought we'd do first, a bit of a running order. We're going to have a look at, and they're not all of them, because so obviously people are going to say, well, what about such and such a deck? Or, but it's kind of decks that we're highlighting. So a bit like a review, you know, if you watched a film review program, they're going to pick certain films, etc., to review. So we're looking at certain decks that have are coming out, and some Kickstarter campaigns that, you know, between the three of us, I think we've all got quite an eclectic mix when it comes to deck releases. So, you know, you've got somebody like Elle, who likes the quirky and the fun and the punchy ones and the weird and the wacky. Becca's all about
weird.
Colour, aren't you, Becca? And
colour's my thing, definitely.
Yeah, and I don't know about me. I'm just kind of, I know what I like and I know what I don't, but I haven't broken that down into specifics really. So, shall we start off? We'll look at March then. So some decks that we want to highlight that came out in March, and these are in chronological order. So I'm going to start off with the first one. We're each going to talk about a particular deck. So the first one that we know of that came out on the very first day of March, the 1st of March, was the Hoodoo Tarot. I don't know if any of you guys in the chat have this deck, what you think of this deck, but it is by Toyana Lee McQuillar. That's the who the deck's by. As I said, it was released on the 1st of March. Now, there has been a bit of controversy around this deck, talking about cultural appropriation and things like that. But the deck and guidebook in particular says that it is rooted in the American hoodoo tradition. So it does pay reference to European culture, hoodoo culture as well. But the premise of the deck is that it depicts legendary root workers, past and present, as well as important hood archetypes and symbols. It does go into real in-depth as well. So the card messages include the history of the root workers, And also it links to lots of other associations as well, such as magical plants and how you can use those magical plants. I'll just read this bit because this bit is quite interesting. It says, the book offers a history of hoodoo and its complex heritage. And it is quite a complicated and complex heritage. It includes its roots in multiple African and Native American ethnic groups, as well as its European influences. So I get why there might have been a bit of an issue, and people were saying, you know, it should be rooted in one particular tradition, but the book is explaining here. The Hoodoo Tarot integrates esoteric and botanical knowledge from hoodoo with the divination system of tarot. It's not a deck personally that I've got any interest in buying, only because I don't really connect or identify with the hoodoo religion or belief system. What about you two? And I know botanics is something that you really like, isn't it, Becca, in particular?
I do, and also I'm somebody that I do have a book on hoodoo, which is really interesting. I think it was a gift from our Debbie Doobie-Doo Bumblebee, but I like having sometimes that window into another culture, you know, to learn about it. And for me, the tarot decks are a great way to learn about the culture if they're created by somebody that is within that culture and not by somebody that has just decided, oh, I'll make a deck about hoodoo. You know, so long as the source comes from somebody that is rooted within that heritage and culture, then yeah, I love that, particularly if it's you know, it's got a lot of botanical influence in there, because botanical workings is right across the board. You know, we use it in witchcraft, Wicca, paganism. So it's interesting to see how that then works in the hoodoo magic as well. So
yeah,
I
think that's where the whole appropriation thing comes in, doesn't it? You know, you've got to look at who the person is that's profiting from something, and whether they have ties and links with it rather than profiteering outside of that group. Absolutely.
I don't really know enough about who wrote it, who's from, just the source, and whether the information's, you know, been stolen or appropriated. I personally probably wouldn't get it, but I'd want to make sure. I'd want to do a lot of research before I'd spend my money on it.
Yeah, I know Lucian from Cross Paths I think he showed it on his channel, and it's a very important deck for him, but he does practice hoodoo, doesn't he? So yeah.
So I mean, it's interesting, but like Elle said, I would need to make sure that the author of the deck was from that culture, and not somebody, you know, that's just decided to make a deck about it.
Oh, and Kelly says hoodoo is a practice, not a belief system, but that's from her knowledge, so she could be wrong. But voodoo is a belief system.
Yeah. So you've got voodoo as the kind of the religion and the umbrella term, and the spiritual element of it. Well, the hoodoo is the spiritual element of it, because that is the practice of it. Like the craft, if you like, whereas voodoo is the religion. That's my understanding from conversations I had when I interviewed Lucian on my channel.
Oh, and Essence says the creator of the Hoodoo Tarot did a lot of research. She made sure the guidebook reflected the specifics of the topic, and she had provided more than ample resources.
Excellent.
I still, I would want to know if she had permission, where those sources were actually sourced from, were they ethically sourced as sources, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Cool. And I think you've got the next one now.
Whoa. I've got the Jane Austen Tarot, and it's due to release on the 10th of March. So the publisher is Ballantine Books.
I've not heard of them either. No, it's not
No.
I'm familiar with.
And the artist and author is Jackie Oakley. So cool. So it's a pack of like 53 cards, so it's kind of more of a playing card deck from what I saw. So I guess, yeah, like a Lenormand kind of thing. So we've got the Queen of Hearts, Six of Spades, rather than, you know, Queen of Pentacles and whatnot. I'm not gonna lie, I've never read Jane Austen, so I don't know any of these characters that are included, like Mr. Darcy, Elizabeth Bennet, Mr. Wickham. Apparently he's the devil.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I know all these names, but I'm not a book reader as such. I've read books, not a big book reader. Is Jane Austen a literary witch?
Oh yeah, she's in the deck. Yeah. But she's not somebody that I mean, I don't like the I can't stand watching films, you know, that have come up like Pride and Prejudice and all those sort of things. It's just not an era that I like. But yeah, she does appear in the literary witches.
Oh, watch this space then on that one.
Yeah.
It's presented in a hinged cigar-style box,
Ooh.
decorated with foil stamping.
Oh, is it funny that I've got no interest really in adding to my Lenormand collection, but then you start talking about the packaging, and I'm like, ooh, what does that mean?
Oh, let's see what people are saying. Oh, Sandra loves Pride and Prejudice. Jen loves Pride and Prejudice. Everyone's loving Pride and Prejudice. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. I know Mr. Darcy and the character Mr. Darcy, but more from Bridget Jones.
Colin Firth, you mean? You know Colin
Mr.
Firth.
Darcy?
No, that's Darcy.
Oh, who did he play?
Who?
He Colin Firth.
Yeah.
Played one of Jane Austen's the films, but I can't remember which.
But it was interesting. He was also in Bridget Jones, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, my mum loves a bit of Colin Firth. Oh, Jackie, I can hear her downstairs.
Going mad. Darcy. A lot of love for Mr. Darcy. Cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, I think, a lot of if you like that sort of thing. Yeah.
So next it's yours, Becca, for March.
Ooh, my one I have is published by Lois Scarabeo, and its release date was the 25th of March this year, obviously, and it is a Visconti Madrone tarot. So it's a historical deck, and it's a larger size deck. I quite like large decks. It's been digitally restored, and it's the edition of the 15th century Visconti Madrone deck. It's got 89 cards, including all original cards and reconstruction of the cards that were missing. It's gold and silver foil on museum quality cards that simulates the original gold and silver etchings. So that's interesting. And it comes in an elegant box. Elegant box.
The elegant in the
with the book in English and Italian. So I've got a Visconti Sforza deck. This isn't one that I would probably buy, because I've got one historical deck, and I'm not overly keen. But so I have that one Visconti Sforza as my bit of history. So yeah, the fact that it's one of the earliest tarots that are around is quite interesting one to have in a collection if you don't have a historical deck.
Yeah.
So
I believe as well it's this one that was the Kickstarter. Just as you're saying it, I thought Patrick Fogarty over at the Living Wheel has just done a review of this deck, and this was the Kickstarter one. And I think now that the Kickstarter campaign's ended, they're releasing it more mass market. So this was the one that has the hardback book. It has the cloth, which is ridiculous because it's a tiny cloth, and the cards are huge. But when you was on about the gold and the silver, I mean, they are stunning. And this is supposed to be a reimagining of, because so many cards are missing from the original Madrone. So it's a reimagining of what the deck would have looked like. Because if you buy it from somewhere like, and they've got these beautiful wax, you get a coin, you get a wax stamp and everything in this. But I'd love to see what the mass market version now looks like. But the silver in this is beautiful.
I mean, it does say that the gold and silver foil on museum quality cardstock. So I would imagine that it's pretty much identical to the Kickstarter, because they're just describing quite proudly the quality of the production of it. So and it comes in an elegant. Pardon?
What's museum quality card?
It's just superior. So, I mean, when it says museum quality, I'm always kind of like, well, not really, because this is very high gloss. It's very, and what's left in the museums isn't glossy like this, but it's trying to restore it to its former glory. So when you watch the video that accompanied the Kickstarter campaign, it talked about, the missing cards and the fact that they took it back. So if you look at some that's in the Il Meneghello, there's lots of chippings, lots of paint that's, just worn away. Whereas this is almost pristine and to what it would have looked like.
It does says it that the gold and silver foil cards, they simulate the original gold and silver etching. So maybe, when the deck was originally produced, those gold and silver foiling or leaf, it would have been gold and silver leaf, would have been very, vibrant and bright.
Absolutely.
And shiny.
Yeah, and that's what they try to do, is to recreate it. And they've had to guess with a lot of it because some cards are lost forever and no record of them. So they've looked at the art style of the other cards and reimagined, or well, not reimagined, tried to work out what it would have been like. And so it was in keeping with the style. Jessie says, really good point. She says she has both the Kickstarter and the new one, and the cards are exactly the same, except for the backs. They're different. Different backs and different packaging. So that's good to know, that you will get you don't get all the fancy extras like you do with this. Different packaging, but the cards are the same. So thank you for that, Jessie. So it's back to me then, isn't it? So Becca, you missed the Circle of Life, but we'll come back to that at the end, because that was the one that was on the 12th. But so we'll go to also don't worry, also on the 12th was the Edmund Dulac, I think that's how you say his name, the Edmund Dulac Tarot. And I nearly got this, but then I really sat, because over the last month I've been kind of like, I only want to add to my collection if there's something new to bring to it now. And there's quite a lot of 19th, 20th century artists and their works being made into tarot decks. There's been a bit of proliferation of them, hasn't there, in recent times? And I looked at him, and whilst the artwork is stunning, it's Edmund Dulac. I didn't think that it would necessarily, or that I would work with it as much. But so Edmund Dulac is a naturalized British-French master illustrator, and he paints enchanting and mysterious tarot deck. He became famous during the golden age of illustration, like quite a few that are being made into tarot decks now, between the 19th and 20th centuries. And he's well known for bringing a magical flair to his artwork. So it's seen as being very esoteric as well, even in today, looking back. But it's a nice deck. It comes in a little tuck box. You don't get a lot, but I've just got so many of those kind of decks now that I was like, I'm not really sure if it would add anything extra. I don't know if anybody in the chat's got the Edmund Dulac Tarot. It's been out for 18 days, so 2.5 weeks. We should.
I know Robin's got it. I know Robin's got it if he's here.
Yes, children's fairy tale art classic Dulac. Yeah, and Robin will be able to tell you as well. The magical theme that they keep talking about is why it lends itself well to a tarot. And the jury's out on that one because it's pre-existing artwork. But I suppose if you're thinking of fairy tale and children's stories, a bit like Bauer, that art, you can make it fit a tarot in some way. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and some cards work better than others. But just because something is fairy tale or child like doesn't necessarily make it esoteric either, which is what they kind of the slant that I read that they was putting on it. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, that is probably a deck that I would buy, because one of my favorites is the John Bauer. I love the John Bauer. I love to get lost in those fairy tale images, and it doesn't bother me that it's existing artwork if it's done well, if the cards are placed well,
yeah,
I would probably buy it.
And Robin,
what about you, Al?
Oh, so I was just going to say, Robin says it's very much like Bauer and Rackham. Borders, just artwork's nice, but it's difficult to read with.
Yeah, I was about to say it reminds me of those two. It's probably not one I'd personally get. I think I lie. I think I might put it on my Amazon wish list. But,
did you?
So maybe.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess I'm up with the Star Spinner Tarot.
The elusive Star Spinner Tarot.
Do you know, my mum ordered that for me for Christmas, and it's not to come for Christmas obviously, because it's supposed to be released on March 17th, but don't know where it is, don't know where it's been. And I'm pretty sure there was another video that popped up. Was it from Boy Diviner, I want to say? Yeah. He had a problem with sourcing that as well.
Yeah.
Casper from Boy Diviner. Yeah. So, wow. But yeah, anyway, it's by the artist Trungles. They did the Very Tiny Tarot, I think it's on Etsy. So yeah, it's quite cute. It's so they're an indie comic artist, and it reinterprets the classic tarot imagery for more inclusive and diverse reflections of the modern world.
Wow.
So thumbs up for that.
Sandra said it's May now, Elle, for the release for the UK, May. So it's Are you having a laugh?
Oh, wow. There's 81 cards, or multiple lovers to reflect a range of romantic expression. So that's nice. Just a shame that it's not going to be it in bloody May. But you know.
Yeah, I was watching Casper's video earlier, and he's had the same experience a lot of us have had. You know, you pre-order on either Amazon or Book Depository, and the order date comes around, and it goes straight to out of stock. And he'd spent a voucher getting it as well, and he got his friend 2 weeks later to order it, and he's had his. So they don't honor the people who pre-order, they're honoring new sales. So as I've always said, I don't pre-order anymore. I wait for the release date, and if it lands, I'll get it. But
Yeah.
so many times I've been disappointed with Book Depository and Amazon for pre-ordering. So
Yeah, and like Next World Tarot
Amazon's
as well.
slightly worse.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So Elusive, a bit like Shadowland, which we'll come on to, but those decks at the minute are just in the UK, and you see people in other countries like the States opening them up and showing them, and like, why can't we have them?
No.
I'm waiting for the
and
Next
the- and
World
the-
Tarot in pocket version, and it was supposed to be here in January, and then they moved it to March. Now it's going to be May.
Which one's that? Sorry,
The Next World.
the mini, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's humongous, but yeah, the new one's going to be a nice little mini one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That. Cool. So Becca, do you want to go back and do the Circle of Life?
Oh, yeah, I did. I messed up majorly there. I should have done the Circle of Life first, because that was released on the 12th of March, and it's by Maria Di Stefano, and it's published by Lo Scarabeo. It's a new improved deck for it's the third edition of the deck, so it's obviously very popular. It features a round box that enhances the cards of the deck. It's high quality tray for ease of use, and it expresses the cyclical forces of nature. So the seasons, and so that would probably be a deck that I would like, except I don't like round cards, and I'm presuming it's no, I don't like round cards. It's just me. They don't feel like a tarot or oracle when they're round.
Yeah. So I've got the first and the second edition. I don't know if I'll get the third, but I actually love this. Out of all the round decks, I know there's Mother Piece, and there was what's the one that's black and white with red splotches on it? Gorgons. I've got a few. I actually like the Circle of Life most. I think the second edition is better than the first because they've got more beautiful backs. This is the backs of the second edition. Less writing on the titles and things, but just look how beautiful that is. It's just stunning. So it's a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. Whether I'll get the third or not, probably not, because the only difference it sounds like, although I bet they've changed the backs again, is that the box now is round. So the first edition was in a flimsier tuck box. These were the backs. So you can see the difference. And annoyingly, because of who the publisher is, you had the multiple languages all the way around the border, which was quite off-putting. So I did prefer this version, the second edition, when it came out, and that's why I swapped to this one.
Twist says
and it's not easy to trim off. Sorry, Elle, you go on.
How rude. The third edition is going to be much larger than the first two.
Oh, really?
Oh, so has that changed your mind then, Simon?
I think with having the first and the second edition, you kind of go on a bit of a journey with them, don't you? It's like, wow. It's like if Connection and Free Oracle suddenly came out with a third edition. I think I'd have to get it because I've got the first two. If I just had one, and I was just happy with one, am I broken?
No, I've done that with the She-Wolf Tarot. I've got all the 3 editions because it was like the deck that made me love tarot. So I was like, oh, wow, you know, this can be my one time to just be a shameless collector. Yeah.
Yeah. So, the Shadowland Tarot. Well, when we're talking about dates, guys, as well, we're talking about UK, because this is a UK channel. The three of us are all in the UK. So we're obviously, and Sandra, who's doing the research, is in the UK. So it's a UK channel. So we're talking about UK dates. So I am mindful that the dates change from, you know, continent to continent. But the Shadowlands Tarot is by Monica Budisky. And the release date should have been the 28th of March, so 2 days ago. It's still unavailable. You just can't get it for love or money. I've got alerts set on Book Depository, on Amazon. It is a deck I will buy. It's by Schiffer Publishing, and I know not a lot of people like Schiffer as a publisher. I love Schiffer. I love all their products. I like their packaging, their boxes, their books. And this looks like a really nice big set as well. A bit like, it's very similar in size of the Everyday Enchantment by Poppy Palin. It's that sort of box, lift up with the ribbons. But it's a tarot deck and guidebook to provide us with a tool to access our shadow and reveal hidden truths within us. So it's seen as a vital creative tool for doing that. Alongside the traditional tarot meanings and symbolism, there are shadow aspects of our archetype, of the archetypal personalities, which are portrayed in 78 playful and quirky ink and watercolor creature cards. And I've watched so many walkthroughs of this now, of those lucky people who have got the deck. And they are very shadowy just by the look of them. These creatures are almost like they're coming out of shadows. So the deck offers insight and guidance into our deeper selves. So it's the reason why it's called the Shadowland Tarot is because it is a tool for doing shadow work. The book consists of a detailed introduction to shadows and shadow work, card meanings, reflection questions, and easy to follow spreads. And I can see the chat going berserk, so I think there's quite a few people who's probably got this deck. And from what I understand, out of love it and hate it reviews I've seen, most people seem to really love it. I don't know if there's anybody saying different in the chat. Hi, Gideon.
Pretty much everyone's saying they love it, yeah.
Yeah. We just want it. Star Spinner and Shadowland. We just need them in the UK.
Who's next?
All right. So Becca, Forager's daughter.
Now, yeah, now this one I've got to say is the one that interests me the most out of my three. This is totally up my alley. It is at the moment on pre-order for Little Red Tarot. The deck is they're expecting the deck in store for shipping in June, so it's quite a way off from there. But it sounds absolutely gorgeous. It's a nature-based deck. But I just noticed, looking at the description in Little Red Tarot, that there's been a mistake in the production of the deck. And the 9 of Wands says 9 of Swords. So those cards are being replaced. So I think that's why there's a delay. So, it's all about nature, magic, tapping into the unknown for insight. And the imagery of the deck comes from a deep-seated love of nature and a reverence for the natural cycles happening around us. Jessica Lee Howard, who is the illustrator of the deck, and the images are absolutely, well, I think they're stunning. I really do. And this will definitely be a deck that I'll be purchasing. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Some of the images, they're quite simple.
Mm.
So we've got owls, spiders, birds, plants, everything that I love is in this deck. So it's gorgeous, really is gorgeous.
Wow. So I just let me get that right then, Becca. So are they saying that you can still buy it, but then you'll get an additional card, or are they holding them back until they get the additional cards?
It says, note for this pre-order, we're currently expecting this deck in store and shipping by June.
Okay.
So, but then it just says under a side note that there has been a mistake in production of this deck. 9 of Wands says 9 of Swords. Not to worry, replacement cards are being printed as we speak. So when you get the deck in June, it will be with the replacement card included in the deck.
Yeah, because it was expected mid-March, and that's why it's on the on the list. Maybe that's the deck we could review then. If Becca likes it that much, maybe that's the deck we can review in June on the channel.
It is gorgeous. It is at a pre-order price of £51.60.
It's steep.
It's a dear, but then, you know, Little Red Tarot decks are very, because they're indie, aren't they?
Yeah.
And it's not. It's going to be a bit more money.
Yeah. And then the last one we're going to focus on for March, Elle?
The Living Altar Oracle, which I backed on Kickstarter and I'm so excited for. It is so an oracle deck. They describe it as like a living grimoire. So each card is a charged spell. It's got like 3 narrative arcs. The first being cosmic source cards. So elemental origins and natural cycles. The second being life path cards, phases of life and divine intervention. And the third, everyday magic cards. So the elemental magic of practical moments. I think it's based on the Witch's Wheel. And it's really pretty. It's all, I think, kind of lino cut design with like bits of botanical and fun magic stuff. But I'm very excited for this, and it's due out in April. Although I just got a ping from Kickstarter with an update from Living Altar. See what it says. Oh, it's about, it might be delayed because of the C word.
Yeah.
We'll say it's April.
Yeah. All right. So that's decks that was either due out in March or have been released in March. So we're now going to go into April with upcoming decks. Of course, there's going to be a lot more than what we mentioned here. These are our picks. And I'm going to start off with the first one. Now, I'm not sure if this is already out in the States or whether there's a few lucky people like Jen from Jen's Balance Tarot, because I've seen her do a walkthrough of this deck. But it's the Wizard's Tarot by Barbara Moore. And in the UK, it is due out on Wednesday, so the 1st of April, 2020. It's by Llewellyn, which means cardstock. Nice box, nice book, but shame about the cards. It's a Rider-Waite-Smith based deck. It has a full colour guidebook, which is what we get now with Llewellyn and their packaging. The full colour guidebook, as I said, is written by Barbara Moore, who, as we know, she's contributed to so many of the best-selling tarot decks in recent years, including decks like Mystical Manga, Shadowscapes Tarot. The artist of this deck is Mika Janssens, and she's from Belgium, and a freelance illustrator specializing in fairy tale, fantasy, and mythical creatures. Now, it's not a reprint of the original Magician's Tarot. Tarot, sorry, not Magician's Tarot, Wizard's Tarot. Because I know, again, was talking about Lucian earlier, his partner, Dave, who had the Wizard's Tower, as part of Cross Paths, always talks about the Wizard's Tarot, and it's a deck that's quite a few years old now. This is a completely different deck, but with the same title. So the deck is filled with adepts, spellcasters, and deep mysteries, and each card comes to life in vibrant splashes of colour and explosive displays of magic. And I have seen it because I've seen, as I say, Jen from Jen's Balanced Tarot show it, and it's a nice deck. And I probably will get it despite my thoughts about Llewellyn and their card stock at the moment. But yeah, I think I'll get it. What about you guys?
Well,
sounds. Yeah, so it sounds like something I would probably buy.
Does it?
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Al?
Probably not, but you know, I guess I may have to in the future for maybe a certain reason. Wink, wink.
Winky face.
Yeah, winky face. I can't actually do it. I'll just do
A man says Barbara Moore guidebooks are brilliant. Love them. You just know you're getting a good guidebook, don't you, if Barbara Moore's written them. I'm a big fan of Barbara Moore as well. So, Al, you've got the next one.
Oh, the Infernal Tarot. I've backed this one on Kickstarter too. I think loads of us have backed this one on Kickstarter. Oh, have I missed one? I done.
I thought it was the Occult Tarot.
Oh wow.
On the second.
The Occult Tarot, is it? Let me look at my sheet.
Yeah, you're on Kickstarter. We're on April.
Mine for some reason doesn't have that written. It just has. It doesn't have the Occult Tarot on the paper.
Okay. Do you want me to talk about the Occult Tarot then?
Yes, please.
It's all right. So yeah, on the second, so the day after Wednesday, Thursday. So we're going in order. Is the Occult Tarot. It's by Travis McHenry, and the publisher is Rockpool Publishing. They've been doing more and more decks at the moment. I really like Rockpool as well. They've got those little out, and they're really good quality packaging and everything. So it's by Arthur and occultist Travis McHenry, and he reveals the secret demons of the 17th century and conjures their powers into this unique deck, drawing on demons, symbols, and sigils from ancient magical grimoires, including Archideusis Magica and the Keys of Solomon. The Occult Tarot presents a fully realized divination tool to finally embrace and behold the mysteries of the night. The first tarot deck to faithfully adhere to the Solomonic principles of demon conjugation, I think.
Congregation.
CONJUGTION. Conjugation. I'm sure it's conjugation. The Occult Tarot allows practitioners to discover the power of ancient demons and learn to tame the beasts that wander between the physical and spiritual worlds. Now, I've just got the Demon Tarot I got it from you, didn't I, Becca? When I came up, and I've still not really dived into that yet, or started to look at it or work with it. So I'm not sure yet whether I've scratched that itch enough to whether I'd want to buy this or not. What say you guys?
I mean, it's not. I mean, the reason why I gave the Demon Tarot to you is because I like the idea of it, but I just didn't use it. And although that particular deck is taken from the Goetia book, so this is slightly different, but this sounds a little bit more in depth in the work, you know, how it actually works, whereas the Demon Tarot was just like pictures of the demon with the name underneath.
Yeah.
So this sounds a little bit different to that.
It purports to be the first tarot deck to faithfully adhere to the Solomonic principles of demon conjugation. So if it's purporting to be that, it doesn't mean it is, but yeah, and it's by an occultist. I don't know about the Demon Tarot, much about that author. So
wasn't it the guy? It's the mass market version of the guy who did demons evoking and angels evoking. I'm pretty sure each card was sealed with like a thing. I don't know if it was like a spell or a way to conjure them or
like an
call
invocation
them or something. Yeah, I know Jenna Ball would know, but yeah, from witches.
And that's
Jenna
why I
Ball's
first saw the
Witches.
Demon Tarot. Yeah, like an invocation of some sort. Yeah. Cool. And then Becca, the Moose Tarot.
Now, the Muse Tarot, I'm quite interested in because it is by the creator of the Light Seers, and I absolutely adore that deck. I love the Light Seers. It's one of my favorites. And so this is described as being a sister deck. So sounds like they are, like there is a flow between the two decks. They're not just like completely different. There's a continuation between the two decks. And it says it comes with a guidebook and borderless cards. So again, like the Light Seers, the detailed guidebook contains card meanings, poetry and word prompts to offer insight to your readings. The suits have been changed, but they're all relevant to the suit name. So for instance, you've got emotions for cups, materials, pentacles, voices for swords, and inspiration for wands. So it's not like she's gone for a completely wacky name for each suit. They'll be instantly, you won't have to kind of wonder what the suit is. So,
well, they're voices swords. That's strange, isn't it? Because it's about thoughts and mind. So to have voices, I get it. But when you said emotions for cups, I thought, oh, she's going to go emotions, thoughts. But I didn't back the Moose Tarot when it was indie. I did the.
I guess maybe for the swords, if she's talking voices, and you know, it is our emotions, and very often emotions are produced, aren't they, from what it's kind of like a conversation that happens up here. I was going to say like voices in your head, but or maybe our inner voice then.
Yeah, your inner dialogue.
You know.
Yeah.
I think that's what she's getting at there. So you know, I'm okay with that. So it's definitely one that I would.
I think it's
be interested in getting.
It's on my wish list. It wasn't one that I was prepared to buy indie when I bought the Light Seers, because you could do both at the same time when they were both re-released. But now I know it's been picked up. And I hope Hay House have got their act together, because since the Light Seers fiasco. But definitely it is one that I would get, even though I'm not a big fan of collage. I do have some collage decks, but they tend not to be my favorite type. Sorry, Elle. I know you love them. Are you wounded?
I am. I think I might just walk off right now. Leave Neville to take over.
Get this channel.
I know, sod it. Ugh, didn't even want to do it anyway. No, I didn't want to do it.
You did.
Okay, so the next one is the Fallen Angel Oracle. Now, this deck has been selling for like £1,000, the original out of print version. and a bit like Japaridze did, and it's come back. So this is coming back. It's by Nigel Suckling, and it's due to be released on the 14th of April. The publisher is Cheat Code Books. I do have the original out of print. So this is the little book you got with it. I keep it in this bag. I mean, it's okay. They've got nice backs. I don't know what they're going to be like now, but there's some really nice artwork. It's very dark, and it's very atmospheric. Some of the things that bug me is just like suddenly the titlings will be in the middle of the card, whereas I kind of prefer them like this one at the bottom. A lot of them remind me of Doctor Who. You know, those statues, those angels.
Yeah, the weeping angels.
That's it. Yeah, when you see them like that, you know, it just reminds me of that.
Oh.
But there's some really nice cards in this deck. This one is glossy. I'm hoping it's going to be released in matte. But anyway, so the deck was formerly out of print and has now been republished or will be republished. The cards are borderless, so there's no change there. The illustrations are by the artist Sarah Perkins. Every legendary villain has a story which is ultimately more fascinating than his hero counterpart. And that's true, isn't it? That's why I always, you know, was rooting for Coyote instead of Roadrunner. You know, I just wanted Coyote to get him. So I tend to like the villains. The Joker. These fallen angels are no exception. Cast out from heaven, they have committed at least one of the 7 deadly sins to secure their place in the legions of the damned. The accompanying book reveals each card meaning and explains the circumstances of each angel's history and wisdom teaching. So I hope the book is a little bit better, because you don't get an awful lot in the original book. So I'm really interested to see what this is like. When I saw that this was selling for like £1,000, I was like, do I sell it? Because I don't use it that much, but
Sell it.
I'm actually kind of glad that I've got it. I don't know if they're going to be any difference. Card stock is okay, but they're very samey. You've got so many of these, like 10 of them. Do you know what I mean? But it's all right. Sell it. What would I sell for that now that there's going to be a re-release, though, isn't it?
No, not now.
I missed the boat.
Yeah, but at least you didn't pay £1,000 for it. You know, that would have been worse, right?
This is true. Elle, did you find your paperwork? Are you able to do the next one?
No, but I remember the next one. It's the Radiant Wise Spirit, but mini.
Ooh.
Mini. The little mini one. I don't actually have the standard size to show, but it's I know.
Now it's easy to walk off.
But it's the dirty pan, as we all have to call it, just mini. Although this one's not going to be borderless. I think this one has borders.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
This gives me hope, because I'm thinking that if they're doing a mini version and they've gone back to borders, are they going to go back to like not a matte, but that kind of soft gloss, that silky kind of texture? Because the one thing that disappointed me with the Radiant Wise was the fact it was so heavily laminated and heavy gloss.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm thinking, well, maybe they're going to go back to the dirty pan kind of style with having borders. So I'm really hoping. I have ordered it on Book Depository, pre-ordered it. Having said I order. But yeah, so yeah, and that's out, should be out on the 25th of April. So, and then Becca, you've got Transparent, haven't you?
Yeah, it's just the Transparent Tarot. This is the second edition by Emily Carding, and it's published on the 28th of April by Schiffer. I hated the Transparent Tarot. I don't like it at all. So this doesn't interest me at all. It does say though that it offers like a quick reference sheet inside, a keywords chart, which is quite interesting, to assist with readings straight out of the box. So if you like the transparent tarot and you maybe want a deck that's a little bit different for a starter deck, you know, it's RWS, which is that ticks that box, but also you've got something like this keyword chart that will help you learn those meanings, but also means that you can do readings like it says straight out of the box. So if you like that sort of thing, it's a good one, but it's not for me.
See, I've got the first edition transparent tarot. The only problem I had with it is the cards were so greasy. They covered them in like a grease, and apparently you should put them in the bath or something, and because you can get them wet, you know. But yeah, they were really greasy and stuck together, and oh, it took ages to clean off. But I do like it. I like the idea. There was the other one, wasn't there, by those Scarabeo as well, that you could overlay in little mini pictures and get like a spread in one card. I preferred that one over the Schiffer one, but I do like the concept. And I never did get the light box, because apparently if you put them on a light box, wow, that kind of just shines through and you get to see all the beautiful overlays and everything. So yeah,
just seems like a lot of faff, you know, when you can get beautiful RWS decks with vibrant and beautiful colors. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't.
So the last one we're going to talk about, just before we go on to a few Kickstarter decks, is the Tree Angel Oracle. Now, when I first heard this, I was like, Tree Angel Oracle, I was kind of, nah. Actually, I really want to get it, because when I read about it, it brings in OM as well. And I'm really studying OM, as many people know this year. In the Hermit's Cave Facebook group, we do an OM card every week that we work with. I've got my own staves, and I just really, really love it. So it's by Fred Hagenander and illustrated by Anne Heng. And again, this is due out on the 1st of April. The publisher is Inner Traditions Audio, which is, again, never heard of them, Inner Traditions Audio. The deck has been out before, and it was previously out of print, and it's been republished. Lots of out of print decks coming out, what with you know, things like Japaridze, and so it's coming back out. It's a card set for connecting with tree spirit for guidance and inspiration. There are 36 cards, so it's not a huge deck for an oracle, really, but they feature different tree species with its tree angel. So I've got to kind of get my head around that. But so it says the guidebook explains how to use these cards and provides a detailed message and interpretation for each tree angel, as well as historical information about each tree. It features trees from the old Celtic tree alphabet, which, as we know, is the OM, and other well-known trees from around the world. There are two types of angels, those with wings and those with leaves. Oh, I just really like that. Can I just be cheeky for a second? There are two types of angels, those with wings and those with leaves. Fred Hagenander is a leading expert in ethnobotany, specializing in the culture and spiritual history of trees, a founding member of the ancient Yew Group in Britain, and a member of Sanasi, a scientific group that helps protect indigenous sacred sites. So painter and illustrator Anne Heng, who specializes in painting on silk, which enables her to convey the quiet beauty of nature. So it sounds quite an interesting deck, and I wasn't aware of it from the first time round, with it being an out of print deck. So that's April done. So all we've got to do now is just talk a little bit about some indie decks. So have we all got our sheets for that one? Are we all good to go with that?
Kickstarter, you mean?
Yes. What did I say? Indie decks. Yeah,
Oh
Kickstarter
yeah, I
deck.
got that.
Yeah. Is it?
Is it-
Okay. Yeah, I've got mine, I think.
Okay. So first one is Ethereal Visions Dreamscape Oracle deck. Ethereal Visions I love. I did have the mass-produced copy. I gifted that. I gifted it to Sandra, actually, or traded, I think. I think we did a trade for it. But I got into a very nice conversation with the creator, Matt Hughes. We had a lot of dialogue together, and I'm not going to go down the old history and the controversy around it. He explained his side of what went wrong with his original Kickstarter campaign for the tarot deck. And it was a series of errors. He did the best that he could, and I took him for his word. I wanted to interview him, actually, but he didn't want to face the community because he got quite a tough time by people. And he's told me he'd never make a deck again. He said, "I'll never ever make a deck again." Well, he has. He's come up with the Ethereal Visions Dreamscape Oracle deck to work in partnering with the tarot deck. So the Kickstarter campaign's ended on the 25th of March. It has been funded, so it's crossed the line. And as we know, it's the creator of the Ethereal Visions Tarot, and it's only 24 cards. That's the only thing, just 24 cards. They are gold gilded, just like the tarot deck. They're going to be printed on 350 GSM cardstock. And you've got that beautiful sort of Art Nouveau style with the gold foil designs. It's in a 2-piece premium box, and there'll be an expanded booklet describing the idea behind each card. Don't know if anybody's backed it. Has anybody backed it?
Oh, we'll have a look at chat.
Twist is asking why he's not blue, and I thought I had, so we'll try again. If you type something, Twist, we'll see if you come up as blue or not. Anybody in the chat backed
Zane has. The Toke Witch has backed it. Katie's backed it. Twist's backed it.
Zane's saying it's now 32 cards, so he must have added another 8 cards then. Perhaps it was it stretch goals that added more cards to it? Yeah, I'm going to wait for it to come out mass, because I think it will come out mass, with there being a tarot that's out there mass produced now by US Games. I'd be surprised if it doesn't get picked up as well, so I think I'll wait for that. Tabby Pie says no, she loves the tarot but not so much the Oracle. And yes, Zane said it was stretch goals that increased the cards, so that's a good way to do it, actually, isn't it, with an Oracle deck? The further you go, the more cards they'll add in. Quite like that.
Yeah.
So Becca, you've got the next one, and it's one I think that you've backed, isn't it?
I have. I'm so excited. It's the 5 Cent Tarot 2nd edition by Madame Clara. Now, I do know that the Kickstarter was ended on the 25th of March, but it was extended by 7 days. That's not changing the date of dispatch or completion, but that was because of all the different add-ons that came. So those extra 7 days brought the total funding up to incorporate all those things. There's going to be a choice of 4 different colors for the backs, and they're all gorgeous. There's also spread cloths with it, which I think you got in the 1st edition.
Yeah.
To get a spread cloth, but there's different colors of the spread cloth too. And also the bags, you've got 4 color choices of the bags this time. The 1st edition had red and green. This one has got the colours of some of the backs. So you've got one that's like an antique blue colour. There's another one which is called Robin's Egg. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, it's got 4 bonus cards. Each deck will come with a matching custom designed pouch and 4 extra cards that they were offered in the first edition. And we've been able to vote. Those of us that backed it were able to vote for the colour of the card backs. So yeah, really, really excited. So as the keywords, there was a bit of a debate at the beginning about whether they wanted to keep keywords, and everybody descended in the comments like, yes, that's, you know, a lot of the reason why a lot of people backed it in the first place. And it wouldn't be the same without the keywords. It adds to that kind of whole fortune teller, Madame Clara kind of vibe. So I'm so excited about this. I really am.
The keywords, take them or leave them for me, keywords. But in this deck in particular, they just add to the overall aesthetic of the card by having. Yeah. And because it's a very different style, I don't read reversals, but this deck is made for reader reversals, because you flip it over and you've got a completely different major keyword, but then all the other keywords are flipped as well. So it's really useful for that. I did consider backing it again because I was wanting to get a backup copy, but I've got so many Kickstarters at the moment. I just, you know, this week alone, I've got 2 lots coming out. So, but I went with the original green backs and green edging. I got the green cloth and I got the green bag because I like uniformity. You know, I love the look of the red bag, but there wasn't a red back or a red edging, so I decided to keep it all in style. Did you get this one out?
That's another thing about the Kickstarter, is that the edges, there's a choice in colours for the edging depending on which backing you chose. Yeah. So whereas the original just came with the green edging, there is a choice this time, and there was a matte gold option too, so you know, that lovely brushed gold effect. So lots of extra details in this second edition, so makes it stand out as different. It's just not a second print of the original one. It's got different features.
Yeah.
But
and Jessie said the cardstock is amazing cardstock. It's lovely linen cardstock, really nice feel to it. Oh, did you get the 5 cent?
I did.
Yeah, do you like
it's been gifted to Jackie. I do like it. But I'm a riffle shuffler, and the edging wore away within like 10 shuffles.
Oh, did it?
That was kind of, yeah. And there was 2 I think both Queen and King of Cups were both compassion for keywords. So I was a bit like, oh, I would have loved a different keyword, but it's all right, you know. Yeah, no, I do really like it, but me mum's pinched it, so.
Oh well, Jackie. She'll get enjoyment out of it, I'm sure. So now you get to talk about the Infernal Tarot.
Ooh. So yeah, the Infernal Tarot is estimated to be released in October. It's a secret tarot deck that has been hidden in a book from 200 years ago. Based on the artwork from the Dictionnaire Infernal, the Infernal Tarot deck will consist of 78 beautifully illustrated cards and an exclusive tuck box and guidebook. Couldn't read that. But yeah, it looks really fun. It's reminds me of what was that deck? Is it like the Tarot of the Egyptians or something that released a few months ago? It kind of reminds me of that color palette.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it looks really good. There's been, I think it's way surpassed its goal.
It funded yesterday, was it, or the day before? I think.
Yeah. Yeah,
I know
let me go on.
yesterday. Went yesterday, I think.
Yeah, and it by Jesus, by 1,307% funded.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Isn't it?
Yeah, but this one looks really, yeah, I really like the look of this one. I know a lot of people have backed this. I remember a lot of people in Facebook discussing it.
As soon as I saw it, I backed it. I was the one. That was the one, Becca, that when you was like, "Oh, do I back the 5 cent?" I was like, "No, you need to back the Infernal." Do you remember?
Yeah, I do, but it didn't appeal to me. Animals wearing clothes. I mean, no, I mean, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but I just knew that if I got that, I wouldn't use it. Whereas a 5 cent, I definitely would. So that's, you know.
All right. So the next one is the Crystal Skull Tarot by Jessie Driscoll, who I believe is in the room. So this deck, guys, ends in like 9 hours. We're that close to this one. So it ends on the 31st, which is tomorrow. I think it's about 9 hours from now. I was fortunate enough to be sent the prototype. These are the backs. What I love about these cards is, you know, whether you love crystal skulls like I do, or not, they look 3D. They really seem to jump out of the cards, but they're really clever because they create, or Jessie's created the scene from the Rider-Waite-Smith using the crystal skulls. So things like the 10 of Cups, you've got the rainbow. She uses yarn. Let's see another one. So like the 8 of Cups, you've got the little cups along the bottom. You've got the water, the Knight. Really lovely. The Borderless. The thing with this is as well, we did know this when this deck was sent to me, and I interviewed Jessie on the channel. But now, since then, since this was sent, Rachel Pollock is going to write the guidebook for this this tarot, and she's wrote a piece as well, which has been shared on Kickstarter, supporting the deck. She spoke about it at Newts. She's done a reading with the deck, and yeah, I'm just really thrilled. So there's only a few hours left if people want to back this tarot deck, but it's just really good. Look at strength. I mean, it's just so cute. The Wheel of Fortune. So yeah, so the Crystal Skull Tarot. I'll just read what we've got here. So estimated completion date. Well, we know it's going to be in about 9 hours' time. If Jess is still in the room, she might be able to tell us. I think there's about 9 hours left, maybe a little bit more. So
7 hours.
Sorry.
7 hours.
7 hours. Just 7 hours. It has crossed the line, so but if you want a chance to get it, then the next 7 hours. It's a photographic 78 card deck by Jessie Driscoll and original book by Rachel Pollock. This deck follows the Rider-Waite-Smith system. All photographs were taken, which is unbelievable. A handmade antique, using a handmade antique background tablecloth, and you can see the design of the tablecloth in the background of each card, but it's also the design on the back. So it's got that lovely personal touch. Many of the images are direct homages to the classic RWS tarot, which it is, and it's just a really different and unique deck featuring crystal skulls. Which, you know, look at 2 of Wands. When you think of the 2 of Wands holding the planet Earth in between the 2 wands, looking out over grass and water. Really, really nice. The Magician has got all his tools around him. So yeah. So the Crystal Skull Tarot by Jessie Driscoll ends in 7 hours, guys. Becca.
Which was mine? Remind me.
The Intuitive Night Goddess.
That's right. Yes, I've got it right in front of me. Of course I have. Yeah. Now, this is by Lindsay Silverman / Eye of Astro. And I've actually backed this one.
Have you?
I have, because it is beautiful. Beautiful. So this ends on the 1st of May 2020. And its estimated completion date is August this year. So it's nighttime scenes that are absolutely packed full of lush nature, animals, magic and beauty, with Goddess standing proudly among them. The Goddess Gaia, or Mother Earth, features very strongly in my my practice, and also animals and the magic, and the art is just gorgeous. It's digital collage art, and drawing has been used to create a language that tells a story of what the tarot means to the creator. Each card was created through channeling and divination. This deck will have gold gilded edges, 350 GSM cardstock, and have a 100-page guidebook. Now, what interested me also about this is the creation of the cards through channeling. Kind of like direct from spirit kind of thing. And that interested me. That's a different interpretation on just, maybe somebody that is great at painting or creating designs, but the fact that they've actually used their own spiritual practice to, it's kind of like, it's not just their own hand, that it's the Goddess herself that has had an influence in how it was created. Oh, look! I just spied him.
He was
So
getting into
yeah,
my tarot
right
deck.
up my alley.
Is that Neville?
It is Neville.
Oh, Neville.
He's an old little man.
Can I see Neville's face? Can you ever hold him up? Because full well, if I'd got Louis, I'd smush his face against the screen. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
His back legs. He's a little old man. His back legs are going.
Oh. Okay, so that's it, guys, for the decks in terms of what's been released in the month previous, what's going to be released in April, and the Kickstarter. Obviously, next time it will be a bit shorter because we don't need to play catch up with March. We'll just be talking about decks that are going to be released in May, because we've already done April, and then we'll be doing our deck review. So we're now going into the final chapter, which is the our thoughts on the deck that we've been working with throughout the whole of March, which is the Hush Tarot. So we all got our copies. Yeah.
We have.
Who wants to start? Shall we talk about the design first?
Box design is nice. I like it. I like the colour inside. I like the beautiful sort of tealy colour inside. I'm going to do what Simon does. It's a nice, sturdy box. It's got little cutouts for your thumbs, so it's easy access. Nice box.
Yeah, and it's quite compact, isn't it? So US games tend to do this a lot rather than the big bulky ones. So it's nice, compact. It sits on your shelf. It feels nice. Box. Yeah, I like the box. 10 out of 10 for the box. What do you think, Elle?
Yeah, it's quite nice. It's nice and matte, which I like. Yeah, it's pretty all right. As someone who loves me a bit of indie decks, it's pretty all right for a mass market, I must admit. Yeah, I like it.
Book.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah, well, you don't get a lot at all in this book. In fact, the whole book is 64 pages plus an illustration for the 65th page, but very limited information. It is a little white book, really, with a nice cover, isn't it?
it was a cool
Yeah, it
spread that
is.
was in it.
Cool spread.
Yeah, I tested it out on my mother because she's quite new to tarot, so I thought let's test it out on a newbie, and she enjoyed it. So the spread's good, but
And there is only one spread, isn't there, which is the 4-card spread, which is the Hush Tarot spread. So, yeah.
yeah, it's not, well, and it's not even a groundbreaking spread, to be honest. But you know, it's all right. It'll do the job.
Yeah, cardstock. I like
Nice,
games, isn't it? So they do
beautiful.
cardstock, really nice cardstock.
Yeah, got a bit of a sheen, but not glossy by any means.
No,
Looks glossier on camera than it is in actual real life.
and when you catch it in the light, it's a very kind of very light linen-y. You've got like a grain in there, a bit like a playing card.
Yeah,
Feel. So it has that waxy feel as well, which is nice. Love the cardstock.
yeah.
Juliet.
Yeah, it's
back.
nice to riffle shuffle.
Is it? I see. I'm not a riffle shuffler. Are you, Becca?
No, no, my goodness, no. I have tried, but it didn't end well.
It's just RL then, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So what do we think to the backs?
I love them. I love these backs. I think they're gorgeous. I love that sort of sepia tone of them. Very vintagey, and I like the kind of this skull kind of detail that's in there. Yeah, I really like them.
They're all right, I suppose. No, I like them. Apart, what irks me is writing on the back of decks, and it's the harsh. I mean, although they have reversed it, so you know, if you are someone who reads reversals, but yeah, just why? Why have you got to do that? Why have you got to ruin a perfectly good backside with writing?
Yeah, I'm the same. I just saw I put why titles on it. It's one of the pet peeves of mine. A bit like copyright on the front of a card. I don't like names on the backs.
But for me, I didn't notice that. I didn't even notice for a long while that said Hush Tarot.
Really?
Because it doesn't stand out as obvious to me when I'm looking at the design of the back. There's detail going on, and it kind of merges. It disappears into the card for me. Not a biggie.
I spotted it straight away.
Yeah, I did. But I don't know. I think I just prefer a nicer. There's just something about the backs. I just kind of. But the backs are the backs. At the end of the day, they're not make or break, are they? So we've talked about the design, the box, the book, the cardstock, and the backs. What do we think to the deck itself? Or shall we? Let's talk about our favourites and least favourites first, shall we? Then we'll talk overall what we thought, because we've been working with this deck, we've been reading with this deck. We'll talk about how we found it to work with. But Elle, do you want to go first with your likes and dislikes?
Well, I liked I liked one card. No, I did like more than one card. There's 6. Well, let me find the 6 of Swords. I really liked the 6 of Swords. Oh, am I in the middle? There we go. Because I like that you can really see what's going on underneath the water. Yeah, and this to me is kind of like the go to therapy card, and it's nice to see that there is, it's more than just crossing across, this lovely peaceful lake to something new. Like, it's actually hard work. There are things you've got to avoid, things that are, it's hard. Therapy's hard. It's not easy. I think they're piranhas, although they look a bit gummy. So I don't know if their teeth have been pulled out, but yeah. So I liked that one. That was really nice. What other cards did I like? This isn't really my kind of deck, spoiler alert. So, I liked the Magician. I liked the Magician card. It's it kind of really reminds me of like the Ouroboros, kind of the you have to destroy things to make new things, and that's very magician-y, I thought. But yeah, those are the two cards that I liked.
Two cards that you like. So, Becca, your favourite likes?
Oh, well, I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards that I liked. Some of them, they won't be a surprise to you why I like them. So one of them is the 6 of Cups. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, the 6 of Cups is my the hare is my kind of animal. I love it, and I also actually I really like the description of all the cards that I picked in this. In my opinion, it's small. There's not a lot in there, but it's very concise. So there was that one I absolutely love, and then the other one is the 8 of Cups, and again, that won't be a surprise to many people. I love that wise owl there. Gorgeous. I just thought that was beautiful. I've also got the Hierophant again, which is another owl.
It's the Hermit.
That's the Hermit, yeah, but this is a horned owl, and the horned owls are solitary creatures, very solitary creatures, but incredibly wise and very, yeah, they're just like the hermit of the animal kingdom, you know. So I thought that was beautiful. I also really loved the Magician as well, like you, but for a bit of a different reason, I think. I looked at the pain in her face, and she's cradling this beast or whatever. His head is up there, but she's cradling it, and there's a huge look of great sadness on her face. And I think, although we have all, she has all the tools to create and whatever she wants. There are some things, though, that we just can't fix. And the look on her face, to me, says that this destruction is one of them. So, I mean, that's just an intuitive bit about that card. I found that very moving, actually. So, yeah, those were my likes. Oh, and this one. This is floating in the back. Oh no, that's a dislike.
Okay. Well, we've got some similar, but mine kind of go into likes or dislikes. So I'll do my likes. As similar, I really love the Lovers. I just love that it's Radha Krishna as the Lovers. It's not really in keeping with the rest of the deck, in my opinion, but it's a Murti that I work with. So in one of my sacred space areas, I have Radha Krishna Murti, and I've had this for so many years now. So to see them as the Lovers was really special. So I think that's probably my favorite card in the whole deck. And I'd have that as an art piece or an altar card or something like that. Very similarly, I love the 6 of Cups. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Its hairs, it's stunning. The autumnal colours for it, it's just really breathtakingly beautiful. I like the owl as well, although different to your owl. Now these two I really like, but I don't understand why they are the cards that they are. So I love the artwork of the 10 of Pentacles, but the 10 of Pentacles you know, what I'm used to seeing in terms of Rider-Waite-Smith with the family scene, the dogs, and everything like that. So it's beautiful, but it doesn't help me read with it in the way that I'm used to reading. And similarly, the Ten of Wands, it's a beautiful piece of art. You know, it's really stunning, but I was just kind of like, but I like them. They're my 6 favorite cards out of the whole deck. So dislikes, Elle.
Oh,
Wow.
this will take a while.
Wow. I didn't like the Four of Cups. I'm like, what? Like what? I don't like what I like. There's the girl in a bunny outfit with a dead flower. I'm just sort of like, okay, interesting. Don't really know what to do with that. Yeah. So I was, So I was just kind of, I don't understand it, basically. Which is why I don't really like it, although nice artwork, you know. And then what was my other dislike? So I only put 2 because I thought I won't be horrible, you know.
And we talked about that one you just shown. I agree with you, but I haven't shown it because I knew you was going to talk about it.
Yeah, and I actually said the 6 of Cups I don't like.
Really?
Interesting.
Is there a particular?
Why don't I like the 6 of Cups? I don't even know why I chose this. Interesting. Okay, let's see if I can make up a reason as to why I don't like it, because now I'm confused. Maybe there's not a lot there. It doesn't give you a lot. Maybe that's what I was thinking at the time.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I don't know what I was on about. Let's forget that one. But I will. I can remember 2 that I didn't like. I will show you these because these have irked me. Oh, where are they? Going to be right at the back now, aren't they? Well, they didn't irk me, but I just So it's the Sun and the Moon card. Like, they're pretty, but it's like but it's like, okay, cool. 2 birds. Just revert. Like, can I have another design? Although maybe they're making reference to, I think there's like a myth with 2 ravens in. I don't know why I'm talking about it because I don't actually know it, but where. Yeah, I'm sure someone in chat will maybe get what I'm getting at. That maybe it could be about that, but a bit of a cop out, really. I mean, come on, give me some more for the Sun and the Moon. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of that one.
Cool. And Becky, your least favourite cards?
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That, you know, one of them is just because I don't like snakes or eels, and all that entwined kind of eels in that card. It just curls my toes slightly. Now the other one is the 3 of Swords, and now this is because I was looking at this and reading a description in the book. I can't see what she's talking about. It's like it's a different card. So this is the card. She mentions the hornet is a sign of sexuality and fertility. I can't see a hornet in there. I can't see it in the artwork at all. And it says life may be blooming, but autumn is coming, and the birds are circling in a predatory manner. I couldn't see that in the card either. I couldn't see any birds circling in a, you know, and neither could I see a hornet. It just seemed very disjointed from the book, like she was talking about 2 different things. I didn't like not that I don't like, it's not my favorite, is the Ace of Cups, because it's supposed to be like the bird perching on, you know, the old, the death, the old thing, and, you know, flying out into new life. But it just looks to me like it's not perching, but it looks like it's trapped to me rather than perching. And it's, you know, that it's like almost like it's crying out, like it's you know, begging to be rescued, which, reading her description in the book, was not the idea, the concept at all. So I found that a bit disjointed. The Hanged Man, I like to see my Hanged Man upside down, and this one is upright, you know, standing up, which does occur sometimes in different cards. But I didn't like it, and it's pretty faceless as well. No face at all. Yeah, and the other one was the Ace, the Nine of Cups. Again, I hate the snake, the coil thing around there. You know, and the cup looks, the flowers look pretty dead, which I didn't get either.
Yeah. Just to say, someone's just said name the deck. I can't remember. You must have missed it when we started. It's the Hush Tarot that we're reviewing. Now, just to say, just before we came on, we said how many likes and dislike card, but we didn't compare at all, did we? We didn't say, these are my likes, my dislikes. Only Elle and I talked about one card the other day, and I deliberately didn't mention it. But really strange. I don't like the Hermit card. However, now it's just explained about the breed of owl, it makes more sense, but I just didn't get anything. And, you know, I'm a hermit. I always look for the Hermit card. I was just really disappointed with it. It just didn't do anything for me as a Hermit card. I also agree. I've got the Hanged Man. I get that there's the binding happening here, but it's not a Hanged Man, you know, and I just...
No.
It's almost like, oh, I painted this picture. What card could I put it in at? It just doesn't do anything for me. Ironically, I also got what Elle had got, the Sun and Moon cards. I get them and I see them, you know, they're kind of two sides of the same card. So, you know, you've got your eye in the center, that one's gold, that one's silver, different, lighter background, darker background, upside down. But you know, the Sun and Moon cards aren't really two sides of the same coin. I can see why it can be interpreted that way, but it doesn't speak to me as a Sun and Moon card, that how I would look for symbols in a Sun and Moon card. I've also got what Becca just spoke about. It's just what, you know, and again, working with it and looking things up in the book. And then my final one is the Nine of Swords. I just really dislike it. There's nothing about this artwork that I like, and I'm like, Nine of Swords. So we've all worked with this deck throughout March. I couldn't wait for March to end because I've not enjoyed working with this deck. I'm going to be really honest. I think some of the art is stunning. It's a beautiful deck. But because we committed to using it for a whole month, it was a long month. And we've had a lot of time at home and things like that. And I just haven't enjoyed using it as much as I've enjoyed using other tarot decks. So that's my view. And I just found it really difficult, particularly when I laid out a spread, looking at the images. And if it weren't for the fact that they've got numbers and titles and symbols, and that was another thing, you know, the symbols, the swords, and this is US Games, so it's not Los Scarabeo. The symbol on the top for the swords is very hard to spot against wands. You can find the wands. They're so similar. So that is wands, and it is so similar to swords. So when I was laying the cards out in a spread, I was thinking, well, why aren't they just saying, you know, 4 of swords? It's US games. I don't get why they didn't put titles on them. Instead of having to try and work out those difference between those two symbols. If they didn't have any titles on and it was just artwork, so I've got, you know, this deck which doesn't have any titles or numbers on, but I can lay it out and I can read it instantly, I would really struggle to read these cards. And it was a bit of a bind for me to read with, particularly with spreads. What about you guys?
Well, my opinion is very different to these two. I loved it, and I think what is crucial to getting on with this deck is reading what her concept is for the cards. It's not a deck, in my opinion, that you can just pick up and expect to lay it out and use it like any other RWS system. Like, for instance, you know, the Hermit card just looks like an owl, and you think, you know, whatever. But when you actually read about the species of owl, so I think if you're going to get this deck and you think you can just like shuffle it, lay out a spread, and you'll be off, you'll be able to read it instantly, you won't. But when you get into when you read the book alongside the cards, the images, they then come to life, I think. And you, for some of them, not all of them, that one particular one that I showed you, but a lot of them, they really do. So yeah, if you're going to get it, take the time and read what he said about his concept for the image,
And to be fair,
and then it,
sorry, I was going to say, and to be fair,
oh no, we've killed Simon.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, we're home alone now.
What should we do?
We're home alone.
Let's fuck shit up. Where's he gone?
Yeah, so it's a
Dad's
shame we
gone.
can't move his. It's a shame we can't move his tarot decks around, but people can still hear us, I presume. But yeah,
Well,
so
I guess...
you've got to read the book,
Yeah, definitely.
and then the deck comes to life. Shall I see? Glide him. I can't glide him because I haven't got a.
Oh my god!
a
Just
phone.
ashamed. Go, Dad, where are you, Dad?
Yeah.
Shall I just go on without him?
am I back?
Oh, you're back. Where'd you
Hey,
go?
there he is. Oh, we were just
Am I back?
discussing what we were going to get up. Yeah, you're back because we were home alone.
What happened?
Oh my god!
I don't know what happened there, but
I thought you just had enough. Thought, oh, sod this, I'm off.
Yeah.
I'm off to
I'm
bed.
I forgot where I was up to. But I think I was going to say, to be fair, we want, you know, we always say, don't we, if there's going to be a deck, then the creator, it's good to have a book so that you can understand their artwork and everything else. I just don't want to be halfway through a month having to keep turning to a book when I want to do a quick reading. Do you know what I mean? I want to be able to connect with the images and be able to read it. And I find, as an intuitive reader as well, with an underpinning knowledge, I found them hard to read intuitively because the depictions weren't really describing what I know that archetype to be, or that message of that card. Did you?
And I think that's what I was saying, is that you know, if you've got to kind of get rid of your preconceived ideas about, you know, what this deck is. It's different. It's, yeah, you've just got to spend time with it. You've got to get to know it, and I think it's essential that when you read this little book with the small amount of detail makes all the difference. and then the images, they come to life more, and I get it now.
Yeah. Elle, your thoughts?
I'm not a fan, to be honest. I think as soon as I was flicking through it, I just was instantly a bit turned off. I think just because all of them, well, not all of them, but it's just quite pale in terms of representation. I feel like when creating a mass market tarot depicting, you know, like, you have a certain responsibility, I feel, to show diversity when you are depicting, you know, humans or human-like people, and you know, each card is representing a powerful archetype, and I think that's quite important within itself. So when the majority of the representation is just very pale, you know, petite, pale women, I'm just a bit like, I don't know, it's 2020, and I just want more, and I've got so many decks that has that diversity that, yeah, it was just frustrating that I couldn't, you know, go and grab that because I've got to work with this for a month. Or, well, no, that's a bit it's a bit mean, but yeah, I'd want to know why is there a lack of representation, if, you know, if there's not a certain theme that warrants it, then I was just flicking through the deck, just kind of like, why is there not, why is it so pale? But yeah, and I think that would just instantly, the light bulb just went. I was kind of not feeling it at all. So yeah, it was, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't work with it though. I had to keep subsidizing it with different decks, but yeah, I think that was just my gripe and kind of just turned me off, to be honest.
Okay. So shall we give our scores? Because what we said we'd do a score, and we would each score out of 10, and then that would be a overall score out of 30. So who wants to go first?
Elle, you go first.
4. Solid 4 out of 10.
That's what I've put.
And I you know, I'm going to give it a 7 for me personally. I love that it's got a lot of birds in, and I just gel with this artwork straight away. So it's a 7 from me.
Which is half then, so that's 15 out of 30. So 5 out of 10, basically. So, wow, 5 out of 10. What do you, let's just throw it open to everybody in the chat then who's got the Hush Tarot. What would you score it out of 10?
So Ginger Faye gives it a 9. Oh, so we've got, oh, that's interesting.
Wow, you must really like it. 8 for Maharat, 1 for Patsy. Patsy, did I surprise you? Because you thought I'd love this deck, didn't you? You was like, oh, I bet you're the one who loves it. 8 for Elaine, 9 for Twist, 4 for Sandra.
Some more 8s. Nancy and Juliet are 8.
Yeah, no, Rob. Becca gave it a 7. Deb, 8. I don't have it, didn't want to order it. Okay.
Oh, 1 though.
Yeah.
Oh, cut deep.
So to finish then, we're going to do a giveaway. Oh, nice giveaway. Over to you, Elle.
Wow, because I'm not really a fan of the deck. We thought, well, let's give it away. Let's celebrate our first official live for the Tarot Times. Yeah, so are you giving yours away too, Simon?
Yeah, I'll give mine away as well. So there'll be two giveaways.
Yeah, so what did the lovely people have to do, Simon?
You wanted them to type something, didn't you, Elle?
Me? I thought that was Becca.
So the draw
Really?
next month, won't it? When we come back, we'll pull a name during edition 2, at the Tarot Times. So there'll be 2, and all you have to do is just say that you want to be entered into the competition. So any comment below, not in the live comments here, but afterwards in the comments below, if you want to be entered, then there will be 2 names that will be pulled during next month's live, and we'll be giving away the Hush Tarot, 2 copies of it.
Basically like no, because I've not done much with it.
Mine's been used for a month, but the cards are in really good condition, and the box is in good condition. So we decided that next month we're going to review the Wizard's Tarot. So we're going to be working with that through all of April. We'll be back on Monday, the 27th of April at 8 p.m. British Summer Time. Just before we go, we want to again thank Sandra for all the hard work that you did in getting us the information, and even right up to the 11th hour yesterday, making adjustments and things for us. So thank you, Sandra. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you to the new mods that are here on the channel. Thank you for all your support, and thank you to everybody who turned up. We got to nearly 100 people at one point, which is amazing. We won't be on for as long next time. We've been on for 2 hours, so it's only because we've done a month to catch up. Next month we'll just obviously be doing the review and April's releases. So anything you guys want to say before we go?
It hasn't felt like nearly 2 hours, and I've really enjoyed it. And Elle, how was your first experience as a YouTuber now?
It's a bit of all right, actually. I don't mind it. I could do it again. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
You're a natural.
Yeah, you are, Elle. Elle, you know, to say this is your first ever live, you are a natural. You really are. So maybe Elle's or whatever channel might start one day. You never know.
Oh yeah. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
All right.
Thanks for the support, everyone.
Yeah, really appreciate you all being here and being here for our very first live. And we'll see you all next month.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.